Well, good morning to Team NeoMed. I hope everybody had a safe and enjoyable weekend celebrating the 4th of July and this nation's independence. Focus on safety is really critical, as it will be for the rest of the summer, where we are now well into the 101 critical days of summer, where we know the safety and the wellness of our communities are at risk. So please always look out for each other. We are entering phase 3 today officially on the NeoMed campus of our 4-phase plan of bringing everybody back to NeoMed as we return to some level of normalcy in our operations. This is a really exciting time. The College of Medicine will have a bigger footprint here than others today, as we expect the third year or the rising third year medical students to be with us on campus very shortly. And we are about 2.5, 3 weeks away from having our brand new first year medical students join us on campus. Phase 4, which will be August 8th, centers more around College of Pharmacy returning. And of course, interwoven into that process is our College of Graduate Studies students who are currently here continuing their work, as well as those students who are involved in our summer research program. So this is a really important time right now for the College of Medicine, as we've made tremendous progress towards improving who we are as an organization and the quality of the educational programs that we have. We will be meeting with the Liaison Committee for Medical Education Secretariat this month and having a report out on the action plans that we've developed for correcting the areas that needed to be addressed per the last site visit. And we are rolling out our brand new curriculum. So an exciting time, and a big thank you to everybody who made this happen in such an incredibly short period of time. I don't know that any medical school has ever done this fast before. And what I'm getting a sense from our faculty and our staff who've been involved in it is that we've got this, that this is going to roll out really well, and we're really going to benefit dramatically from it. So a big thank you to everybody who is involved. I did receive a question last week that I was not able to answer at the time, which was regarding the RGE fourth floor build out. I did know that it was on budget and on time, but no more details than that. And what I've been informed is that indeed is the case, with an expected time of opening of December. So in the meantime, we'll be moving or working out the plans for the moves to go into those spaces and figuring out the reallocation of spaces in the other areas where those groups will be coming from. So again, on time, on target, things are going very well from that standpoint. We are focusing in our summer of wellness. As you can see, we've got days set aside where we're allowing faculty and staff to finish up a little bit early at 3 o'clock. Please use that time for your own health, whether it's getting out and walking, hiking, jogging, doing something for your mental well-being also. Please focus on your health. If you're not healthy, then we're not healthy as an organization, because who we are is you. Our faculty, our staff, our students make up this organization. And without that, we're just a collection of buildings. We need to make sure that you're running at optimal strength, and that means attending to your health, including your behavioral health. So we're really excited to be able to offer that program again this summer, and I want to thank Mr. Andre Burton for really helping to get this going and for advocating for that again this year. A big thank you also to the Department of Anatomy and Neurobiology, working hand in hand with the College of Medicine and the College of Graduate Studies. The Modern Anatomical Sciences program has expanded its footprint, along with the assistance from the College of Medicine's admissions group. We've been able to increase the enrollment to that program and use that as a lever to also help increase our diversity. So thank you to that team for all the great work, and really excited to see that program kick off here over the next few weeks also. I want to inform the community a little bit more of what's been taking place with our partner at Cleveland State University. As you know, we've had an 8-year partnership with Cleveland State that has evolved around students that are underrepresented in medicine. And that program has had a lot of impact over the years. That impact has included graduating nearly 60 physicians, many of whom have returned to the Cleveland or the greater Cleveland-Akron area to train, and also some now to practice. The program had been supported by the Cleveland Foundation as well as many other philanthropic bodies. We've received grants from the federal government, and it was supported by Neomed and by Cleveland State University. Over these difficult times where we are having to really tighten our financial belts, the program has become something that in its current state, both universities felt it couldn't continue to support at the same level. While we acknowledge the program is highly impactful, it needs to be more impactful and it needs to be run more efficiently. So Dr. Sands from Cleveland State University and I met with our community advisory board this past week, and with their blessing and their recommendations, have put that board on hold for the next 6 to 12 months, at which point they will very likely reformulate and repurpose around separate committees to assist Cleveland State and separate committees to assist Neomed. We are internalizing our group and bringing our faculty, our staff, and our students home here to Neomed, and we will look for ways to repurpose our building space that we have a lease for on the CSU campus, whether that's subleasing or whether that's repurposing for our own utilization is something that we're working out right now. As you know, these have been very difficult financial times, and the dollars that we use to be able to pay for the lease on that building can be used in better ways. So we're looking for ways to offset those losses now. I'll give you more updates on that as things progress, but I do believe that the program is going to emerge even stronger and more impactful than it's been, while we are absolutely committed and dedicated to supporting all the students in the program now, as well as those students who are entering this year. Cleveland State shared that they have 41 new students entering their program their side of the program this year. And Dr. Forrest Faison, really an outstanding new addition to CSU, is helping to evolve the program on their campus to ensure the students are more supported and better prepared for entering into medical school, whether it's here at Neomed or one of the other affiliate programs. So a big thank you again to everybody in this community who's supported and continuing to support that program. What I expect to see is you will look at not just the ethnic and the international diversity we already have on our campus, but an expansion of the diversity of underrepresented in medicine and underrepresented minority students on our campus. And we've watched all of the support from all of you as the issues have unfolded nationally around racism, to know that this is a safe place. This is a place where all students from all backgrounds will feel welcomed and comfortable. So please continue to move your efforts forward to do that and support our endeavors and to support those things that should never be allowed to take place, to support eliminating those things that should never be allowed to take place in society. The strategic plan is continuing to move forward. My promise to the Board of Trustees is that we would have a well-baked plan for them for review by the September 9th board meeting. So I'm meeting with a large group from across the university who are vetting the survey data, continuing to build upon the previous meetings that we've held around setting a new strategic plan. And we will get a new pathway built out as a draft based on your input, and then ask you to give further input on that so that we can be assured that we are moving forward in the right direction and incorporating the needs and the desires of our community in doing so. As I drove onto campus today, our improved pavements to our parking lots, the beautiful flower gardens and well-manicured grass and shrubberies. It's amazing the work that our operations team does to leave this campus looking so beautiful and a place that you want to be on at all times. So thank you to the operations team. It really struck me today as I pulled onto campus, just what a great job we do here. This is almost like a Disneyland. It's so beautiful and so well maintained. We're very fortunate to be able to run a university out of such a great place like NeoMed. With that, I'm going to stop with 20 minutes of updating you and then ask you now if you have any questions that you'd like me to answer.
Since most of us are not yet fully back on campus, can the increase in parking fees begin when we are fully operational and utilizing parking 40 hours per week rather than the July 1st implementation?
I'll talk to our operations team and our vice president for finance and operations about what that would do. The reality is if you're not here on campus now and you're not parking, we shouldn't be charging you a fee for this period of time. For those of the rest of us who are, I'm paying mine, and that's because we need to be able to continue to maintain our parking lots. And we're going to need to build new parking lots now as our new buildings go up and we have more people on campus. So I understand the fairness and the importance of the question, and I'll meet with Mary and have a discussion about what that looks like as we phase back in. We also are charging these fees to our partners who are on campus. So the Biomed Academy is also part of this, and we'll have to look at when they're here on campus too.
The calendar says all classes are online for P3s, but assessments are on campus. Is this final? I believe we should know because we want to know what to do regarding apartment/rents.
You know, my understanding is that we are having everybody on campus and that we were not moving to all online. So if that has been communicated, then perhaps Dr. Kasmer can join in on the chat conversation and fill you in on those details that are specific to the college, as those are his decisions regarding how he is managing his college. So not to cop out on that one, but my understanding is we were all back doing a hybrid model. So I'm going to let Dr. Kasmer address that.
A follow-up for parking. We've been getting charged for parking costs since March. Can we get a refund on those parking costs?
We will have to discuss that. Fees have been reallocated, but let us take a look at that. And I will get with Mary regarding all of this on the parking issues.
Could you provide clarification on the new social contract, including a 14-day self-quarantine post-travel to at-risk areas? What is an at-risk area?
So we're asking and recommending, what I've shared before is we are going to follow the state rules. And right now the state has lifted the quarantine. When we created the standard operating procedures going forward, there were two things taken into account. One was, what was the state we were at the time it was created? And at the time that was developed, the governor's office had a mandatory quarantine in place. We are also looking at ways of keeping this campus safe above and beyond what the state recommendations are. And so there are recommended quarantines versus mandatory quarantines. And right now it is not a mandatory quarantine unless the state tells us that it's a mandatory quarantine, because we do not have the full force and effect of the law of the state of Ohio without that in place. Otherwise, these are recommendations on things we can do to keep our campus safe. I think it's always a good measure for us to look at what the risks are. If I were traveling into an area of this country that I knew there was a substantial increase in the risk of viral transmission from COVID-19, and I came back to campus, then it would make sense for me, looking out for you as part of my community, to put myself into a 14-day quarantine. But we've not really defined what a high-risk area is well yet in this state. We're still trying to get our arms around what that means. Currently, we are still saying no foreign travel. And if you were allowed to have foreign travel, then there is a 14-day quarantine, but that has not changed from federal guidelines. So, you know, just understand that what you've read, I'll go back and reread that. My understanding is that there was not a mandatory requirement for that, and really there can't be a mandatory requirement for that. So We will send out an executive summary on all of this information late today or tomorrow. We just had a meeting about this. The information we put out was quite lengthy, and we're looking to get an executive summary out with bullet points really hitting those highlights.
With schools going back in session and children starting back this fall, is there a plan in place for employees that may have kids that are not physically going to school based on their district, that are doing it strictly online?
We do not right now. And that is something that we're going to watch with what happens statewide. But for now, our plan is to sequence everybody back on campus as of August 8th. And normally we have everybody on campus over the summer, excluding this year. People are here regardless of childcare issues. So we've been very careful to extend those differently this summer, understanding that childcare was not available. As the state has now lightened the restrictions and ramped up the ability for childcare to be present, we're still going to do some evaluation of how it's affecting our individuals, but our intent is to get everybody back to campus. And right now, phase 4 begins on August 8th. And we are still watching what's happening from different school boards, superintendents, and systems as to how they're going to be handling the coming year. Part of what we struggle with in conversations is what year is okay, whereas some parents are completely comfortable with the 6th graders staying at home, conducting virtual education, or just staying home themselves over a summer period. Others are uncomfortable with a 9th grader, whereas others are more comfortable with a 4th grader, and it really depends on the child. It's really hard for us to dig into that level of detail on individuals. What we have to do is watch things unfold, and we'll be ready by the August 8th deadline to make formal decisions. But right now, it's still not clear what's going to happen where. For instance, the Aurora School District is planning to be back in session. I heard today that there's been talk that Akron may not, and that it may be virtual. So we will have to figure this out as we go.
There are no further questions at this time.
Great. And just as a follow-up, Dr. Zarconi did weigh in, is still saying international travel for quarantine not required for those in-state within the US. So that was my understanding too, and that's the guidelines we're going to follow. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful week.